Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic known classic. This is episode number 29, and Doubleshot 2023. Now, the two trades discussed here are one thing published to different companies, and it's from two major franchises people have begged to have a crossover between these two franchises, but the only reason why we haven't had one is because of ego. Not because of legal issues. No, that's not the reason. Paramount and, well, previously it was 20th Century Fox, now it's Disney. It's because of ego. That's the main reason why these two have never crossed with each other. Which begs me to question why hasn't another one crossed up with Batman. That would be interesting. Yeah, Batman's crossed up with TMNT, but not Star Trek. You could have done with the original series, but nope, you haven't done it yet. Alright, but we do have a Star Trek and Star Wars trade here. First up we have is Star Wars Allegiance. Now, I did check. I did not review this. Basically, this book and the other book have something in common. They're basically prologues to... This is a prologue to a movie, and this one next to me is a prologue to a TV show. Star Wars Allegiance, roughly 4 issues. It is the prologue to quite possibly the most controversial movie of the entire Star Wars franchise. That being Rise of Skywalker. It is more controversial than The Last Jedi. Yep. And here's the weird thing about this. When Marvel was, when as a lead-in into Rise of Skywalker, there was not much marketing. Unlike, let's say, Force Awakens, Last Jedi got about marketing. As for the last movie of this trilogy, you had this and a novel. That's it. That's literally all you had. The only thing kind of else took place during the time between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker is that last arc of Kanan. Not Kanan, it was Poe Dameron. And that was it. Literally, that was it. So, this book is done by Ethan Stacks, the guy who would also write Bounty Hunters. Art by Luke Ross. The cover art by Marco Cheeto. So, mostly put for this book, it is the best way. Now, you're probably thinking, does this miniseries explain how the heck Palpatine was revived for the movie? Nope. Palpatine himself is not even mentioned in this miniseries. So, we start out with General Hux. And the whole thing is like invading a planet. And this whole thing of like, we have, I think this woman here, I think is Lieutenant Kron, I think her name is. Appearance-wise, she looks a lot like Leia, and there kind of is a reason for that. I think this is actually the actress played by... I think this is the character played by Carrie Fisher's daughter. Yes. Also, for some reason, this artwork makes 3PO look so weird, though Archie looks fine. Yes, so it's all about a lead-up. It's like building supplies, getting weapons. We have Poe and Finn basically being a tag team here. And they use Millennium Falcon. Basically, it's a little series of adventures that kind of happen comic-wise prior to events in the movie. We have, of course, Kylo Ren just doing his own thing here. And that's kind of most what happens here. Just stuff happens. It's not terrible. It's just that you just don't have a lot happening. And I hear anybody talk about this book at all. Nope. And this book is supposed to set up for Rise of Skywalker. I do love the covers of this book, yes. There's a lot of good action here. We have Rey using the Force. They're using her spear. Not much using the lightsaber per se. We have Poe doing his thing too. And it's all about trying to rebuild the Resistance. Now, we do get Leia doing a flashback to basically destruction of Alderaan, with of course Tarkin there and Darth Vader, and seeing Kylo murder his father Han Solo. Yep. Now, of course, Leia, they said Jedi sacrifice worked. And the thing is, Leia's not dead because she's alive in the movie. So, yeah. It's okay for a miniseries. It does kind of loosely set up the events of the movie. It doesn't spoil a thing. I'd say Resistance Reborn probably does a lot more to explain how the heck the Resistance got back it was. I would say that in the case of this book, it's probably, if you want to place it chronologically, it's just after the Poe Dameron series wrapped up. That's the best place to put it, between that and probably Resistance Reborn. I'm going to get the book I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Next up we have is Star Trek Discovery, The Light of Kahless. Yes, this is I think it's like a 4 or 5 issue miniseries. It is 4 issues. It's done by Kristen Beyer, who doesn't have familiar with this woman. I believe this woman wrote some Star Trek Voyager novels with Mike Johnson, who's writing some Star Trek books for IDW, with Tony Sanation on the artwork. And so, basically, this book is what the Klingons were up to prior to the opening episode of Discovery, the Battle of the Binary Star. Now, the one thing in particular about these Klingons, the one thing a lot of people did, like, the armor, I heard no complaints about the armor, it's the heads. The redesign of the Klingons for Discovery got a lot of criticism when they were first shown. Like, they're bald. They're weirdly shaped. It's like, it's kind of weird how the Klingons go like this, because they don't look like this in the original series. They clearly didn't look like this in Enterprise. We get I get the prequel show, but yeah, and then of course there's a bit of some nudity. We do see some naked female Klingons here, who are very thin, mind you. A lot of the female Klingons depicted in Star Trek tend to be very muscular, but not bodybuilders per se. But these female Klingons look really thin. Yes, but the book does end leading into the pilot episode of Discovery. Yes. So, Christian Bayer apparently was one of the writers of Discovery. Okay, fine. But Mike Johnson basically was the guy who was writing Star Trek for quite a while. It's actually a pretty good miniseries, what it is. It does focus a lot on the Klingons. I do like the writing of the Klingons. The writing is fantastic in this miniseries. The problem is, we're using these Klingons with these heads. I mean, the best way to describe these Klingons, in my opinion, just like the non-ridge Klingons, this is probably a different sect of Klingons, because I highly doubt all the Klingons look exactly the same. Because we have Klingons here are blue, we have one who's white, who's not an albino for some reason. We even have a birthing scene in this book, and the baby is considered stillborn because it didn't cry. And then they just throw the baby away because it was stillborn. Oh, and also the Klingon gave birth to this thing standing up. And they had, I do appreciate the censoring here. We have the female Klingon, I couldn't tell it's female, where she's holding on these 2 beams. And she's giving birth right there. And like, it's kind of a weird ceremony, because Klingons all about ceremony and honor. Now, aside from that, it's an okay miniseries. You probably think that probably the best thing about this book is his writing. And yeah, it is. The only problem is basically we don't know who the heck these Klingons even are, because That's the thing about this book. I read this whole book aside from the fact that, like, we do see one Klingon who did appear in the show. I think it's the guy with the red armor. He did appear in the show, and like the book starts off like in present day, just after the events of the opening episode, and then like we go to Kronos. We see like various. We see the ship being built there. Apparently, it's being cleaned. Lots of fighting here. We also have one point where apparently like this couple who got married just a year prior, and apparently because the baby was stillborn, that you have still maybe marriage over. And he's like, I'm also taking control of the house too. And she's like, that's bullcrap. You promised me I control the house, not you. Yeah, it's like we got some Klingon politics here. It's like a lot of stuff basically going on here. Like, I barely remember these Klingons' names because basically they're said like once or twice. But I do like the action shown here. The fact we see some training going on, I thought it was kind of weird. The Klingons train butt naked. I thought that was a weird thing to see in the book. Of course, you don't see Rance, but clearly these people are butt naked. I mean, is it natural for Klingons to do training butt naked? They're not the Greek Olympians. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that the Klingons here are very well built. They take care of their physique really well. Okay. It's just that the ridges are not the problem. It's basically the fact they're bald. Now, in Discovery, there is no explained reason why they're bald. And I am classifying, by the way, I give this book a 8.5. I think it's filled with slight improvement over, let's say, Allegiance. That this book in particular, like, I would say this is a sect of Klingons who look like this. Because I don't think all of them look like this. I would say I'm guessing these are like higher tier Klingons than the ones we see in like, if anybody's ever watched like Star Trek Generation to like Voyager and a little when they showed up on Enterprise, I would say that's a different one. These are probably like the Shadow group, like hidden warriors who basically like do the killings. Like, I would say they're assassins per se. I'd say it's a different section of the Klingon military. That's how I theorize these Klingons are. Now, I know Discovery itself is a very divisive show. The fact that a lot of people's biggest problem with the show, the criticism I've read about, is the character like who does not appear in this book. There are no Starfleet in this book. All Klingons. Now, I do appreciate what IDW has done with Star Trek. I have no problem with IDW's taking on Star Trek. Not at all. And sadly, by the end of this year, IDW no longer publishes Star Trek. Which does beg the question, where's the license going to go? Image just got Transformers and G.I. Joe. I don't think it's going to go there. If you want to think of a company who can easily pick this up, who can do a really good job with Star Trek, in my honest opinion, which this would be perfect, given the fact they don't have Alien, Predator, Prometheus anymore, how about sending a Dark Horse? You probably think like, that actually sounds like a good idea. Given the fact that IDW is all the license they'll have live is probably just, after this leaves, it's probably just Sonic, Godzilla, and TMNT, which they had to basically pay a lot of money to keep that license. Which of course is published like 4 or 5 books that one now. Star Trek, I think, as far as I can tell, they only published 2 books that one. For Discovery, I believe this is actually one of 2 books I could think of. They did it as a tie-in to Discovery. Now, those of you probably going to ask me this. How far to get with Discovery? I watched the first 2 seasons of the show. I have not had a chance to watch any more of the first seasons. My dad has watched the whole show. He likes it. Which other people who have watched Discovery Not fans of the show. Peter David doesn't like the show at all because when I read online when the first trailer for the first episode, he had no idea what the heck was going on. He had no idea. The thing was too dark. He thinks, from his perspective, that Orville is more Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery is. And of course, we got Strange New Worlds. I haven't watched very few episodes. The first like 2 or 3 episodes of that one. That one actually was really good. I enjoy Strange New Worlds. I think the acting is really good on there. I do think it's a little weird that her on the show has got like really short hair, not the bob cut basically that Nicole Nichols had on the show. It's almost like they portray her on the show as a tomboy. I'm not sure why. It's just that it's kind of how it is there. All right. So that's pretty much it. Particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do the dislike button. If anybody would leave their thoughts on how they feel about Star Trek Discovery, please feel free to list up the comments below. Will I view more comics related to Discovery on my YouTube channel? Yes, because I like Star Trek. Yeah, it's... If you want to ask me personally, of the new Star Trek that they put out, which one I have watched all the way through, which one I really enjoyed? Picard. I love Picard. I thought Picard was a fantastic show. It's a shame there's not a season 4 of that one. Given the fact the show was really good, it has issues I'll probably do a video on some other time, but there's that. So that's pretty much. So I'll see you all later for more 7 Days Sins, then in our comic corner, and then it's on to Case Close. Okay, thanks you. Bye.